Protests led to chaotic moments today on the UNC-Chapel Hill campus, with police and pro-Palestinian protesters clashing on the quad this morning and afternoon. Hello and thank you for joining us. I'm Gerald Owens.
And I'm Deborah Morgan. At one point, the group took down the American flag and put up a Palestinian flag. Shortly after it came down the first time, interim Chancellor Lee Roberts came out with police officers and said the American flag will stand on campus. WRL's Matt Tallhelm is live tonight on campus, where the crowd has thinned, but law enforcement has not. Matt?
Yeah, Deborah, you know, this has been the epicenter of this all day. This flagpole right here, you can see the American flag is back up here, but our understanding is that the pulley system was broken during all of these clashes, all of this that happened here. This center of Polk Place here, this is where the encampment was for 5 days. Those pro-Palestinian supporters out here for 5 days. You can see those metal barricades. Those came down, were thrown around, tossed around as police and protesters clashed here. These are the remnants of a day of protests at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill.
Police moved into UNC's Polk Place for the second time in a day, after protesters tore down metal barricades to reach the flagpole in the center of the quad, where they raised a Palestinian flag in place of the Stars and Stripes. UNC interim Chancellor Lee Roberts was there as police and protesters clashed for the second time in a day.
Tell the students that we're going to keep them safe from a very small minority of students who want to disrupt their experience.
Hours earlier, before dawn on day 5 of the encampment of Palestinian supporters on the quad, police from schools across the UNC system descended on this same space. Officers overturned an air mattress fortress built around the center of the encampment block. Some protesters tried to stop police vehicles, even laying down on the sidewalk in front of them.
You got over 100, 200 police officers marching onto a campus to disrupt students while they're sleeping. And we are still not scared.
UNC says about 30 people were detained in the moment. At least 6 were arrested and charged. Dozens of supporters surrounded them and tried to block our cameras as they were released from the Orange County Detention Center.
They are really rattled because it was like a traumatic thing to experience, but we are not fazed. We are not fazed. We will continue to push and to fight, and we will not back down.
That's the message they brought back to campus for a march and protest leading up to the American flag coming down. Behind the crowd of hundreds supporting the Palestinian movement, a handful of Jewish fraternity members held an Israeli flag in quiet counter-protest.
While not a large Jewish community, we have a strong one here on campus, and that we aren't going to just disappear because stuff like this happens at UNC.
Now, the interim chancellor and provost put out a statement after the clearing of the encampment. It says in part, we must consider the physical safety of all our students, faculty, and staff. In addition, we are alarmed at the rising accounts of anti-Semitism and speech, and we categorically denounce this and any other incidents of prejudice. Now, the university gave those students 30 minutes notice to leave this area. I do want to show you, just within the last 2 minutes here, about, I'd say, 8 police officers, UNC police officers, are down here now surrounding this area. There still are not a lot of protesters here. It looks like they're getting ready to come in and fix the flagpole. I see UNC facilities crews coming in there. I guess the police are probably just here to make sure that these clashes don't erupt again here on campus. But in the past hour, we've also learned 36 people were detained this morning. 30 of them were charged with trespassing and released on site. WRAL anchor Dan Haggerty continues our team coverage now. And Dan, you're looking at who these protesters were that were arrested and any connections to the university here.
That's right, Matt. We're learning a lot more about these people, who they are, where they came from. Of the 36 people detained on UNC's campus this morning, we've learned that roughly half of that 30 who were cited and released were in fact students. 17 of them were not. Now, 6 were actually arrested and charged. Just 6. All 6 face misdemeanor charges, including resisting a public officer. 5 are also charged with second-degree trespassing, and 2 of them also face charges for assaulting a government official. One of those warrants was worded this way about the suspect, saying, quote, they unlawfully and willfully did resist, delay, and obstruct a public officer by pushing against an officer and tackling him to the ground. The officer, we have learned, was assaulted, was actually who was assaulted was an NC State police officer on campus helping out the UNC police force. UNC-Chapel Hill says 3 of the people who were charged are students. They do know that. And from LinkedIn accounts and student news articles, it appears that 2 others are seniors at Duke. The 6th person does not appear to be affiliated with any local university. All were released. They got a written promise to appear and didn't have to pay any bond. They have court dates, though, scheduled 1 month from today. Right now, it doesn't appear that anyone was detained during the afternoon protest, Gerald.